Hi.
I'm not really sure what compelled me to come up here, actually, but there was something earlier that you said where there's nothing to be said, but still it needs to be said.
Yes.
That really moved me, and so that's why I'm here.
Yes, welcome. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you. It's so nice to be here.
What have you realized?
A lot, and I'm having a hard time articulating it in words. I always seem to have that problem. It's hard for me to put it into words, and even my body is kind of, it's relaxed, but it's almost exhausted because I feel like there's been so much release, and but there's this clarity that remains, and it has to do with what we were just talking about, the stopping, because I think it was yesterday, your voice is so gentle, and yet what comes out of it, there's this fierceness to it that really just cuts through the mind, and it just woke me up. And but in a gentle way, you know, and it's so weird. It's very hard to describe. So it hasn't been that long even since I noticed my mind and the sort of incessant activity of the mind. And even that was a big shift because...
That's right.
Yeah, it went from the problem, the so-called problem being out there to all of a sudden realizing it was in me. And that had a certain freedom to it.
Absolutely. That's maturity.
Yeah, but it also was the beginning of sort of a new battle in the sense that battling with my own mind.
That's right.
And really sort of vilifying it and making it into the enemy. And, you know, I heard spiritual teachers say, don't fight the mind, don't resist. You cannot resist the mind. You're just giving it more power and just let it be because that's what it does. And I would hear these things and it would be like, yeah, I know. Yeah, that sounds true.
But they don't know your mind.
Yeah, or I would just be like, yeah, I got that. And then I would go right back to battling with my mind. And
well,
it was
we're a warlike species.
Yeah, and it was really, but it was shocking to see that in myself.
It's shocking to see it in yourself.
And it was like it was almost horrifying.
It is.
Because I felt like I was living with this tormentor almost.
A monster, torturer, yes.
Yeah, and it wasn't even like I was having these crazy thoughts. It was just the incessant persistence. Yes. Oh my gosh.
It's like choking the life out of you.
Yes.
How do you not fight that?
Yeah.
This is the dilemma.
And I could feel that it was really draining my life energy in a way. And yesterday, and I would have moments, you know, glimpses of stillness and where I was just very present and still. I mean, that's all I can say. But they would be very fleeting. And yesterday, I don't know what it was that you said. I don't even remember the context of it. But when I went home, I felt that I had a choice, that it was my choice to choose stillness rather than to just hope and pray that it would, you know, that I would have this moment of bliss that, you know, then I can't even hang on to. So I felt very empowered.
That's the truth.
And it reminded me of what you said about the weak mind versus the strong mind. I felt like before I was trying to use the mind to tame the mind.
Yes.
And then there was this stepping back where, not that the mind activity subsided, but I could choose to rise above it almost.
Yes, beautiful, very articulately said.
Oh, thank you.
Really.
And then this morning I came and I was sitting before the session started, and the stillness just came. It wasn't even like I had to choose it. It was there. And it was inviting me, it was kind of like what you said in the beginning yesterday about permission to be happy. And I'd heard that in a different way yesterday, but this morning I really heard it as an invitation to dwell in that space of stillness, and that I could remain there, that it's my home, and that I don't have to leave it if I don't want to. It was so, and again, it was nothing new, like not like I hadn't heard it before, but experientially it was so immediate. And the amazing thing was that the mind came in immediately and tried to dismiss it. Meaning it was like, well, what's the big deal? Like it's just stillness. You're just you're just sitting there, like like it trivialized it.
That's it.
Yeah,
And you saw it.
and I saw it immediately, because it was so ordinary. Like I have to say, it was so extraordinarily ordinary.
Yes.
That stillness, I imagined that it would be like these amazing experiences that people have, and I'm not saying that that doesn't happen, but in the most essential, the most simple, at the core, it was
Yes.
very ordinary.
The most intimate.
It was intimate, and I still felt the pull. I don't know why I'm talking so much because I was talking about how I have a hard
This is
time
what
articulating. but and this is what I meant by I felt like, because I don't normally talk about my experiences, but I felt like it had to be like for myself. It had to be said, especially because of the tendency to dismiss it. So going back to so it's not that I didn't that there wasn't mind activity. I could still feel the enormous pull of the mind wanting to take back the attention, but it was in that moment, at least, because normally the mind is center stage and the stillness is peripheral. And that's why it comes and goes. But in that moment, it felt like the stillness was finally center stage. And even though the mind activity was still happening, that's what, so I finally understood when people say, like, just let it be, that was the letting it be. Because the stillness was actually totally not fazed by what was happening at the mind level. It was the strangest thing. And as the talk went on, and I just felt so much love coming from you and all the people talking up here, and that's why I felt like it was such a group experience for me, coming from the energy of the group. I was kind of going into that more, and what I had experienced, and like this question came up of like, who is it that's, when I say choose, that I can choose this, like who is it that's choosing that? And I mean, there was no answer to that, but then again, and I'm kind of jumping around here, but the mind came in because I felt like what it was saying was that stillness is me.
Who you are.
Yes. And yes. And the mind, I just have to sit with that for a moment, because again, it was so, it's just a tiny, it wasn't,
all it takes,
it
just
wasn't.
a little shift over.
Yes.
This is such good news, because you don't choose that, but somehow within the mind you choose to give that its rightful place.
The surrender.
Yes, the
to
surrender.
that.
Yes.
And the mind was again going like, is that all? Like, like when you that's the big, like, that's who you are. And then and then it was like, it was as if so then that stillness, it's almost like it said, yes, actually, and let me, and then it turned up the dial a little bit, and then it said, let me show you even more. And then that's when I just felt this, like, immense opening of the heart. I literally, I couldn't even get up from my seat because it was so, it wasn't even just that it was so full and so like open. There was a weight to it that said like, here I am.
Yes.
You know,
Real
like
solidity.
yeah, like a presence that was saying this cannot be denied.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was so beautiful. So I mean, that's, it's so nice to share it.
Yes.
Actually, it's so nice to
It's essential to share it.
yeah, to share that with others,
Yes.
and even to hear myself say it because yeah, and what I heard it say, I'll stop, was because it was speaking of the willingness that you were saying, and for some reason, because I don't normally speak in, like I don't read the Bible or in biblical terms, but it was saying like that thing, that saying, the faith of a mustard seed, but it was saying if you have the willingness of a mustard seed, like how much more I could show you. Not even that show you like externally, but just how much deeper your
Revealed.
realization
Yes.
can go.
Yes.
And that all it is just my own willingness to
That's
see
right.
that.
Oh,
It was just
hallelujah. This is the
amazing.
truth. This is the victory. And this is the possibility to be true to that in some way that you can't even formulate by your mind.
Yeah.
But to really be true to that, and I guarantee you there's more and more.
I really got that sense. And it was really telling me, don't bother even hanging on to this experience because
Excellent.
there's way more where that came from. And it's always here. Like what you kept saying, and it's almost like all the stuff that was kind of trapped in the mind at like the intellectual level almost became more of an experiential,
That's
like
right.
whole body experience.
Direct experience.
Yes. Oh, thank you. I'm just so grateful.
Oh, I am so grateful too. This is
Thank you.
it.
Thank you so much.
This is it.
Thank you so much, everybody.
Here, you take this.
Oh, thank you so much.
I don't even know if are they real. Yeah, I think they are. Good.
Thank you.
This is it. Yes, this is it. This is it. I know I said some more people to speak, but didn't she say it for you? Yes. This is hearing your own heart speak. The mutation is gaining critical mass. How exquisite too to hear how quickly we would deny that or trivialize that or yes but that. The maturity and the strength is in recognizing that tendency because it will appear choicelessly. And then the wherewithal, the grace to hear it and to be willing to drop deeper. This is what brings us together. This is why we meet. Whatever I say or you've read or think, this is what brings us here. And this is alive in each one of us. So you can agree or disagree, it's much closer than that. It's live. It's who you are. It's the living truth. And it's only your mind that denies it or surrenders to it. And your minds are mature. You couldn't have sat through the weekend otherwise. And they may be crazy. They may have flaws and dysfunction, but there is a maturity that needn't be denied. And it will guide you, your natural, luminous intelligence. And it may guide you into some very difficult situations, some painful situations, but in your willingness to be true, there's more. I guarantee this with my life, there's more. And I invite you to guarantee it with your life. Whether you ever speak it out loud or whether you never stop speaking it, your life, what a great use of a life. To be a guarantee of life, conscious of itself. Then our meeting is a celebration of that. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti.